Today, on this very special episode of Brain Ablaze, we have stand-up comedian Trevor Harris come talk to us about his struggle with cerebral palsy and his fight with epilepsy. 27 and working out of Los Angeles. Here's a little bit from his set.
And when I was in elementary school, this is how bad this is, guys, and I would get like a loose lace, I would ask people to tie my shoes. Like, that's how I made friends. No, Trev, you see, I can tell you have cerebral palsy, and I only date guys that know how to tie their shoes. Oh, okay, well, hey, how about this? I can play video games with one hand. So how about we just do that? Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, anything, I'll kick your ass.
Please welcome to the stage, Trevor Harris. I am happy that you're on the show because I spent the last 2 weeks looking at all of your videos.
Oh, you watched all the videos?
Yes.
Oh, man.
How does that make you feel?
I feel, well, okay, like there's a sense of improvement, right?
Yeah.
But starting out and looking back and stuff like that, I was so horrible. I mean, I don't know what, like, my doctor said, oh, you got to pursue comedy to heal from chronic pain, right? It worked, but the journey in the first 3 years was so bad. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. It was like, it's like, you know, when you're in school and you have an oral presentation, it's like that kind of thing, or like being called on in class, only you're trying to make people laugh, and so it's extra stressful. It was very, yeah, but then I guess you just keep getting up there, and then you get used to it like anything else. Like, comedy's great because it's the only thing that I know where you get consistently better with the attempt. You know, it's not like when I was little where coaches would say something like, oh, well, you're great, I wish that these other guys had your heart, you know, but if you picked anything else, you'd be awesome at it. And I was like, oh, thanks for telling me how bad I was, you know. but stand-up is cool because all you do is talk, and then people like you regardless of your physical or mental issues. And I never really got that kind of respect outside of sports, so it was a nice change of pace because everybody else just kind of treats you like you have epilepsy or cerebral palsy or whatever it may be.
There's no doubt about it that you're jumping on top of the stage in front of everybody, and a lot of us who have epilepsy is kind of, you know, it's considered a hidden disease, right? And with cerebral palsy, everybody can see it right off the bat. Mm-hmm. That takes guts, my man. So how do you actually just jump on stage and just, you know, throw it to the wind?
Well, it's easy for me because my only issues are physical and brain damage. You have other guys up there, other women who, you know, they'll talk about all these issues like alcohol and whatever, and you go, holy crap, you know, this guy is funnier than me, but I can definitely tell that he's going to go off the wagon someday. And then, you know, there's just all this stuff. And so I don't feel necessarily as bad because I'm able to make fun of the fact that I can't cut my own food at some certain times, or I absolutely cannot tie my shoes. You know what lock laces are?
Yes, of course.
Yes, I use those on my shoes. I can't tie them.
I would think that you're a big fan of Skechers. Yeah.
You would think so, but no.
I think your grandfather's a big fan of Skechers.
Right. Like I have enough issues. You know, I get tired even the smallest amount, and I start limping, and my left side goes out. Like, you know, when an office chair gets all unhinged and it starts moving like a swivel. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I look like. So I couldn't see myself in Skechers on top of other embarrassment, you know?
Your set is not the typical, hey, I lost my luggage at the airport. So tell me about your set.
reading this article on irishcentral.com where this lady wanted to find out about her roots and the Irish sense of humor, right? And I'm like, well, that's me too, so why not? And she said she found out that the Irish sense of humor is basically 95% self-deprecation. The rest of it, you make light fun of everybody else. And I read that and I was like, holy crap, that's what I do, because I have to make them comfortable with the fact that I get up there and I'm like stutter stepping like Walter Payton. And, you have to mention that. And then my arm is my arm. It looks like it's about to fall off, so I can't not mention that. And then if I haven't seized in a while, that's not going to be a part of it. I usually just talk about my CP and the interactions I have with a lot of people. And it gets really dark, too, because a lot of people will get you this. It's major misconception, It's like with seizures, they go, oh, you have them because you're possessed. And I go, no, dude, I'm a redhead, man. Demons are my friends. And that's what I go off of.
Well, you definitely have a unique way of looking at things. I actually truly love that about that. I think there's a lot of people who are actually watching the videos get a lot more of the jokes than the people actually in the audience.
I'm so glad you said that because I was having a conversation by text from a buddy who's, she's an old friend. Like, my oldest friends, they used to help me tie my shoes when we were in elementary school. That's how far back we go. And she said the same thing. She's like, I know you're having a hard time recovering from seizures because your brain's all rewiring and everything, and it's being mean to you. But just know that your stuff is actually stuff to a lot of people, and it's more relatable than you think. So thanks, because I actually found out that there's 1% of the country that has seizures. CP is 1 in 17 million. So that's a lot, and I didn't know that many people were affected. And it means more because my entire life I've spent in and out of hospitals, and these recent seizures before Valentine's Day and before Christmas, I spent 6 years out of the ER. So unfortunately it broke that streak, but I've always had problems when it seemed like I was healthy, like because you're sick doesn't mean you have to end up in the hospital, and it just means a lot when people say that.
So do you have people come up after the shows and ask you about, like, how do you deal with things, or, I'm an epileptic too, or I have CP, or, things like that?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't meet my first cerebral palsy person until I was 20 because of the lack of the amount that we are. And so that doesn't happen, but there are people that say, oh, my brother or my cousin or whoever does have that. And I just wanted to say thanks for being open. Or like they'll talk about some major attack, like because they were a criminal victim or something, or of a car accident. And they'll be like, well, that happened to me. And I spent like 3 years in the hospital or something. And the fact that you were able to joke about something like that made me feel better. And I was like, wait a minute, but I didn't go through the same thing. And they go, oh, it doesn't matter because the trauma, how you get it, is different, but all the pain's the same because everybody leaves. Nobody understands. And when you're not getting paid, when you're struggling being in and out of hospitals and wondering how I'm going to get by and having people support you and stuff like that, that is the greatest feeling in the world. And I'm sorry for getting sappy, but
No,
it's pretty awesome.
That's it's not necessarily sappy if it's actually something that you're dealing with, because quite frankly, if you're dealing with it, there's a lot of people who are dealing with it as well. Well, that's something I've always wanted to ask you, actually, is have you ever actually had a seizure in the club or on stage or anything like that?
No, but I do have dreams of seizing as I'm introduced.
Yeah, I think we all have those dreams. Quite frankly, we all have those dreams.
I didn't know this, but the first time I got up there, it was awful. I was only up there for like maybe 2.5 minutes. because I didn't know that a lot of the times, if you're doing clubs anyway, that you can't see people, and so that lighting, it's kind of like when you wake up from surgery, and the only time I get migraines anymore is when I'm light sensitive, and I didn't know that was a seizure trigger, so it was a good thing, but I was on the right meds at the time, and yeah.
So let's talk about your CP. You said that everything on your right side, from your shoulder.
Left side.
I'm sorry, your left side. I apologize. My right, your left. Yeah. So tell me about them.
From my head to my foot, it's like a giant cramp. There's tons of muscle tension. The colder it gets, the more pain I'm in. Kind of like chronic pain, but you actually know where it's coming from. And it's really hard to cut my food. The more tired I get, the more shaking I have. It looks like a swivel chair, and I'm not able to tie my shoes. I can't drive. I need a lot more help than people would assume because of how I look. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually.
Okay. So like everything is smaller on the left side. My shoe size is actually a whole size smaller than on my right. So I'm like a 10 and a half. I'm almost a 10 on my left foot. And yeah, it's just like a giant cramp to put it mildly. It's a nonstop, you get up, you can feel it. There's like, you remember the Wizard of Oz when they did the oil scene because he was rusty?
Yes.
Like, let's just put it this way. Oil would not help me. Yeah, it's a constant thing, and without going into too much graphic detail, I can't do anything. I can do a lot, but then there's a point to where I can't. You know how people, when they're around disabled kids, they're like, oh, you can do anything you want, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then you get older, and you're like, no, I can't do this. This sucks. There's just, I mean, like, I was picked for certain things in school for a reason because I just can't do it. And sure, those adults wanted to make themselves feel better, but like I needed that joy in life,
I keep on telling you this throughout this interview, but the fact that you're able to get up in front of a crowd and talk about this, I've seen people just get up on the stage and they just freak out, right? The fact that you're able to talk about something that is so important to you, that is so emotional, that is so, I hate to use this word, but tragic, and then make it so heartfelt and so heartwarming is remarkable to me. And I think that there's a lot of people who are looking, hearing what you're saying and saying, the fact that you can't do things, and they're going, what are you talking about? You could do a lot of things that I cannot do.
If somebody asked me to hike, I go, dude, that was not the thing that you wanted me to be doing, a quarter miles when I get really tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, see, I told you,
You're like, I'm an espresso, sit down and have a wonderful conversation type guy,
Exactly. Like when I was little, I was in a walker for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Let's imagine that the coronavirus, we all survived the coronavirus first. And, LA's still standing. All the clubs are still standing. Everybody wants to go see the new comics. What's the future for you?
Well, permanent road work. I want to write up a show and see where that goes. And I also want to start a foundation to where I can produce different shows and we can donate the money to places that help with physical therapy and chronic pain research and epilepsy, because I find it bothersome that there's only a few types of causes where people feel good to donate to, and I feel like left out because I was born with certain things that like millions of people have, but nobody knows a thing about it, and there's a genuine issue seizures suck. The CP is not something to take lightly. We have all sorts of help that we need, and I hate the fact that, because I've been in different states so far, performing with as bad as my health has been in my adult life, and I don't like the fact that other people are like me without help. So I want to try to see through comedy what I can do.
That's a great thing. I think a lot of people would really enjoy that. What's the best way to contact you?
My phone number is 310-961-8423. My email is comedytrevor@gmail.com, all lowercase. My Instagram is patchcomedy310, all lowercase. And my Twitter is at Trev972, capital T.
Anybody can actually go on Google and search for all those videos that he doesn't want you to watch and see the fact that he has improved his whole entire career. He is improving all the time. Well, we wish you the best, Trev. All right?
Thanks.
Thanks for being on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
If you like today's show, consider subscribing on Apple Podcasts or even giving us a 5-star review. Thanks, Trev, and see you next time.